explore the incredible machine inside your head and how it shapes your entire reality. The human brain is a complex command center, orchestrating every thought, feeling, and action through a vast network of biological connections. Understanding mental health begins with understanding physical brain structure, revealing that psychological struggles often have deep biological roots within our anatomy. Let us journey deep inside the skull to identify specific regions that play critical roles in regulating our emotions and behaviors. First, meet the amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure deep in the brain, serving as your personal alarm system against potential danger. It processes fear and triggers the fight or flight response, helping you avoid threats before you consciously realize they are there. Next is the prefrontal cortex, located right behind your forehead, acting as the CEO responsible for planning, decision-making, and control. This area regulates emotional responses to stress, ensuring that logic prevails over impulse when we face difficult challenges in daily life. The anterior cingulate cortex sits nearby, helping you focus attention and manage emotional reactions to maintain stability during complex social interactions. Deep within the temporal lobe lies the hippocampus, the librarian of the brain, essential for storing new memories and retrieving old ones. These regions do not work in isolation. They communicate constantly through billions of specialized nerve cells that we call neurons. Information travels as electrical impulses, zipping along the axon, a long fiber extending from the cell body like a transmission wire. When the signal reaches the end of the line, it must cross a tiny gap between neurons known as the synapse. Here, the electrical signal triggers the release of chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, which float across the gap to the next cell. These chemical keys bind to specific receptors on the receiving neuron, unlocking a new electrical signal to continue the message forward. Once the message is delivered, excess chemicals are reabsorbed or broken down, resetting the system for the next incoming neural transmission. This lightning-fast exchange happens millions of times per second, forming the biological basis of your thoughts, your personality, and your sanity. However, this delicate system is fragile, and disruptions in communication pathways can lead to various serious mental health disorders and conditions. Mental illness often stems from complex factors, starting with genetics, where inherited traits make certain brains more susceptible to specific conditions. Physical trauma to the head can physically damage neural pathways, altering personality and cognitive function in sudden and sometimes permanent ways. Extreme or chronic stress floods the brain with cortisol, shrinking the hippocampus and impairing the prefrontal cortex's ability to regulate emotions. Perhaps the most common cause is a chemical imbalance, where the brain produces too much or too little of specific neurotransmitters. When these chemical levels fluctuate beyond the normal range, the communication between neurons becomes distorted, leading to significant psychological distress symptoms. Let us examine three major neurotransmitters that are frequently cited as the primary culprits behind many common mental health diagnoses today. First is glutamate, the most abundant excitatory neurotransmitter, which revs up the nervous system and ensures that signals are sent quickly. Imbalances in glutamate are linked to autism, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and schizophrenia, showing how overexcitation can disrupt normal cognitive processing functions. Furthermore, problems with glutamate transmission are also associated with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, affecting memory retention and learning capabilities over time. Next is serotonin, often called the feel-good chemical, which plays a major role in regulating your mood, appetite, and sleep cycles.
And allowing
A deficiency in serotonin is strongly linked to clinical depression, leading to feelings of sadness, lethargy, and a loss of interest. This is why many antidepressants work by preventing the reuptake of serotonin, keeping more of it available in the synaptic gap. Finally, we have dopamine, the reward chemical that drives motivation, controls movement, and creates feelings of intense pleasure and satisfaction. Low levels are associated with ADHD and difficulty focusing, while the dopamine system is also heavily hijacked by addictive substances. Conversely,
As you can see,
excessive
the
dopamine
scan looks
activity in certain
completely
brain
healthy.
areas is linked to the
The
hallucinations
activity
and
levels
delusions
across all
often seen in
regions are
schizophrenia
perfectly
patients.
balanced.
These chemicals do not work alone. They interact in a complex symphony, meaning one imbalance often triggers a cascade of others. Understanding these biological mechanisms removes the stigma, proving that mental health issues are medical conditions that require proper treatment and care. With therapy and medication, we can help restore balance to the brain's chemistry.